So, funny story, I'm going to high school, my senior year, and I see a lot of kids wearing like Kanye West Yeezys, so like the OG Pirate Blacks, Turtle Doves, whatever, and they're like flexing like, yo, like I just paid like $2,000 for this, I just paid $1,000, and like push comes to shove, like a lot of these kids are just wearing fake Yeezys, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, like how do you get the real thing, right? Like this shoe costs like $200 online, what do I have to do to get a pair, right? So I saw Adidas confirmed, and I was like, oh, if I just go to like this area, I'm gonna win a pair. So I drive to a coffee shop an hour and a half away in high school, and I sit in there, I get a coffee. I win the 750s, like which one? One of the 750s. It wasn't the OG colorway. It could have been like the black colorway or the gray. It's not coming to my head right now, but
how's it going, guys?
High school. I go to Adidas to pick it up, and I walk outside, and I get hounded by 10 dudes. They're like, yo, I'll give you 1,000, I'll give you 12, and I ended at like 1750. And in high school, I'm like, yo, this is like a lot of money for a high schooler. So I like that. But you know, before that, like I always came from like buying and selling, like whether it was like surfboards, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, whatever I could make money on as a kid. I liked the negotiation stuff. I used to go to like Comic Cons and stand in line, get like all the Funkos and all the toys, list them on eBay.
I miss when Funkos were profitable.
Yeah, back in the days.
Good days there.
Yeah, all the San Diego Comic Con stuff. So I think I really started taking like sneaker reselling seriously when I moved to New York City. I saw like how lucrative it was. You had Supreme, you had like so many foot stores around you, so many first come first serve opportunities. So when I moved there, I just started going outside every day before my classes, getting items, consigning it, and building my bankroll. And it got to a point where I started hiring like almost every kid on my dorm floor to go line up for me in line. It's like, hey,
25, 50 bucks to get
yeah,
there.
50 bucks. Like I remember when Supreme was doing like in park signups after they shut down first come first serve in New York City, and you get an email like every like Monday or Tuesday in the morning, and it would be a random park in New York City, and you had to like literally run there, take like a subway, or however you got there fastest to get on the list. And whatever number order you arrived in is what you'd be at Supreme. So for box logos, they sent the email out 2 hours early, and I already had 10 kids ready and 2 Ubers to go. So I got top 30 for everybody, and it was good. It was super good back then. So I just kept, you know, reinvesting.
Well, then a lot of your backdoor connections are on the East Coast, right? Like a lot of the bigger guys that have full.
I mean, like
they don't get a lot of that out here, though.
The game has changed so much than what it was. I think like 4 or 5 years ago. Like now you have like Discords, now you have like so many opportunities for information. When back then that was kind of like a sacred thing. The information you obtain, like you really don't share that with anybody except like your small group of friends. Like why would I post like Jordan 1's first come first serve in a Discord when I can just get it myself and bring like 20 people with me, you know what I mean? I never understood that. I understand like the power and inspiring like a new generation to like resell and stuff, but I think it's kind of just something you have to learn on your own.
Or is it charging kids $50 a month for the information?
I don't know, dude. I don't like it. I'm not with it.
I think it's more the money grab.
It's like
$50 a month reoccurring, 800 members. That's
a lot of revenue. Like, sure, you make money off the information, but like,
would you sell it for $1 million though, your information? At some point, right? That's all they're doing.
Dude, I don't agree with that. I feel like in anything you pick up, like, just let's take sneakers for example, right? I feel like there's more fun and like you build more awareness and community development if you're learning like on your own, or you build like your own group of friends you're going out with every day to get stuff, or you know, the growing pains. Like I feel like if you're just getting spoon fed all this stuff, it's just like doesn't make it like that fun.
Sneakers aren't as scarce as they used to.
Yeah. Like when
everybody can touch it at some point, right? If you know the right person.
Right. When I started, like it was different. You know, like we knew like what spots to go to, where we had to sit in line, where we had to do, what maneuver we had to do that day, and like I don't know. When I first started, it was just really fun. It was just like the rush, like you know,
money with your boys though.
Yeah, it was like fun with your group of friends and whoever you went with. It's like cool like when everybody like gets what they want or what they wanted to accomplish that day or how like you can help each other. But I think I don't think the intensity has slowed down by any means. I still think like fights still happen all the time. I think maybe it's gotten even just a tad bit worse nowadays, especially like in
mostly
LA.
It's everything online.
Yeah, the majority's online, but even the in-store stuff, like the fights still happen, the stabbings still happen, shootings happen. Unfortunate. I don't know why this stuff comes with sneakers, but when money's involved, that's such if a lot of money is involved, people do it, whatever they need to do. But it's sad, man. What do you think about like Nike now, right? Like a lot of the releases we go for were distributed through like tier 1, tier 0 stores. So like I guess a tier 1 would be like a Foot Locker, Foot Store. And now that Nike's kind of cutting supply chain and really only distributing it to community stores, do you think that's going to have an overall effect on the sneaker market? Like from my standpoint, I understand like Nike really doesn't gain anything by distributing mass amounts of product to Foot Locker. It's probably at close to cost when they could just distribute it direct to consumer and make the full margin. But at the same time, like a lot of these companies depend on a Nike account to bring in not only the hype but the revenue. So do you think if like Nike really starts pulling a lot of these source contracts, do you think that's going to have an effect on the hype of what's occurring in the secondary market and how like things are, I don't know how to phrase that.
I know, I'm with you. I think they're adapting to the future. The future isn't these tier 1s anymore. It's going to be online. Look at Amazon. Amazon's grown so much over the last 10 years because people don't want the convenience. Nike ups their online game. You can get it to your door faster. And create that instead of having to go in store. People don't want to leave their houses, especially with COVID and everything going on. Right? Sure. I don't think it's going to affect it. There's always going to be a demand for sneakers because everybody wants to look cool. Everyone wants to have the best thing.
But I feel like COVID is basically gone. Let's just be honest.
I agree, but it's still an overwhelming factor.
Still a huge overwhelming factor. I think the repercussions from COVID with like inflation, you see gas prices rising. I wonder. Like, I haven't significantly noticed it in the secondary market for sneakers and streetwear, but if you look at like tangible assets, like look at like the luxury handbag industry, like Hermes bags have gone up so much. If you look at watches, Rolexes have never been at these prices, APs, Pateks. Look at the car market, cars are selling for over sticker price. Do you think that's gonna happen in sneakers? I feel like
we had it already though.
I feel like
I think we already had it.
We had it for like, a little bit, but it wasn't significant. You know what I mean?
I think it's going to take a little bit of time to get there again, though. It's not something that can just reoccur like that.
No.
We had it right when COVID happened. Stimulus checks went out. Everybody wanted to spend their bet. It happens once a year, tax season, but I don't think anything in this world can cause that to do that again. Unless the scarcity becomes more. Like we get delayed releases, not as many pairs come out. But then Nike would be losing money, so it doesn't make sense for us.
Yeah, well with supply chain stuff, like you see a lot of SKUs that were supposed to come out like this month or next month, they're not coming in until April, May, June potentially.
And if they do come out, like look at the Red Thunder, like the Thunder 4s, Black and White Dunks, the new releases, quality control's terrible. So they really care at this point?
Maybe.
Quality control on the shoe, and you're one of the biggest shoe brands in the world, and you don't care about your quality control? It's on every pair. Like, I see every pair Red Thunder 4s. They look terrible. Blue stays everywhere.
It's tough.
That's going to affect the market at some point. Quality of shoes that you're paying thousands of dollars for. It's also going to hurt us. How can you justify
Thanks, man.
paying
Appreciate it, brother. Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
See you guys later.
Have a good one.
Hey guys.
Bye.
How can you justify paying $1,500 for Travis's if they're blue stains on it? Like the quality's not good. That's going to hurt us.
Yeah. I think it comes down to like curation at that point. I feel like a lot of shoes we're selling now are a trend, in my opinion.
Oh, 100%.
And I think like the curation process, especially for sneaker stores and reselling companies, is so crucial because like some things are just timeless and they're not replaceable. And like the way you curate those products.
But GRs are replaceable. Rails aren't.
GRs are replaceable, but some GRs at some point, like if you look at 12 to 24 month trend lines, it's usually when you see the highest appreciation. in like a Jordan product, after like month 24, a lot of these products you can't find again. So like let's say,
but are they good enough to want and have to find it again? Like, is an Oreo 4 justifiable at $600 in the next 2 years? That I'm gonna be like, I need those Oreo 4s because there's already gonna be something new that's out that looks exactly like it shipped.
I know, but from like an investment standpoint, right? Like let's say a few months ago you bought 1,000 Cool Grays, right? You know you're gonna probably make 2 extra money within a 12 to 24 month time frame, and that shoe will always be timeless, no matter what like trends
But they
change.
can just retro it again, though. That's the thing. How long is the gap between?
Oh yeah, that is very true too.
At some point, they can retro anything. Nike retros everything. Yeezy, at least he's been pretty good about it. He just started dropping older stuff again now, but Yeezys have always been a hot commodity because of how scarce they are.
I think with Yeezys though, like production has gone up. I think Kanye's documentary has definitely helped with the popularity spurt, like growth spurt again, especially with like 350s and stuff. But I feel like Yeezys aren't a great hold long term because like I think Adidas just pumps out as much quantity. Like the MO for Kanye is like, I want to get my shoes to the people. Like I want to make costs a little cheaper. I want to make it more effective. I want everybody to own a pair of Yeezys whether they really like it or not. You know what I mean? Whereas Nike,
Jordan also has a legendary name that carries a little better than obviously.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I just think with like Jordan brand, like their MO is like, okay, I'm gonna put out like a Travis low, but I could spin off like a color of a Jordan 1 low that may have some similarities, but I could sell millions of that, and then I'll sell a little bit of this to keep the hype.
Like we call it the poor man Dior's or the poor man Travis's. Like there's always gonna be the pair. Like mochas. They look exactly like the Travis's.
Travis 1 highs and mochas. The mochas are now at what Travis 1 prices were when they.
But how long can you do that for? Keep the demand. Yeah. I honestly don't think sneakers are going to be relevant anymore. Saying it won't be again, like forever, but like look at like early 2000s, Jordan weren't as big as they are like now. Like Jordans were sitting, so were Nike SB Dunks, right? Like there was no wave. That was a lull we had. I think it comes again into the next generation.
I think like the people who are really going to make out in the sneaker industry, it's not resale stores. I think it's really going to come down to the raw data, like aggregating the data, the consumer trend line, why are people buying the shoe, and then redistributing that data to a company like a Nike or an Adidas, because they really want to see why would a consumer buy my product for 1,000% premium compared to what I'm selling it at retail. Where is the trend line going? The trend line, in my opinion, is moving more towards like Jordan 4s and Jordan 3s. And I feel like in the last 4 or 5 months, it's been like wise to stock up on some of those silhouettes because you see like girls, guys, that you can see the trend line is switching.
It's FOMO.
Yeah, for sure it's FOMO. I think with like Jordan 1s, some of these. I think Nike has produced way too many Jordan 1s in the last few years. Yes, some of the colorways are amazing, but some I just think the quality was bad.
The light fusions, like did we really need those?
No.
We could have done without those. And that was like the 25th Jordan 1 drop of the year.
Yeah.
Like at some point you have to give up on the silhouette. They need to get better at distributing each silhouette.
For sure.
I know it's popular now, but you gotta keep the demand on everything.
I think like the flipping economy though, like if you go back like 5 or 6 years when Adidas really had the throne, like Nike obviously was like a step behind. Everybody just wanted Yeezys. You could see a trend where it changes again. You could see maybe New Balance or like some other big player in the game come in and make something sick, and the trend line changes, and then what we have in inventory just becomes completely secondary.
Which is scary to think about.
It is scary to think about.
Because you're sitting on hundreds of Yeezys that could be worth maybe $0 if Kanye does something stupid.
Yes and no.
Not zero, but they're still going to be a value, but you're going to take a loss. At some point, right?
With the Yeezys, like they sell consistently, so I'm not really worried, but you have to have variety. Like we own shoe stores.
Okay, wait. So did you have an effect on Travis Scott's when that whole controversy happened?
Oh yeah, of course. Like you had like a mixture of people who may have been Travis fans in the past that maybe don't want to buy the merch anymore, or maybe they don't want to buy the sneaker. However, I don't really want to dive like too deep into that topic, but like I don't think it was intentional by any means, but. shit happens.
The stock of the
It's
shoe
really
went down because
sad.
of something that happened.
Yeah, it's super sad. I mean, look at.
But also, who's to say? Here's the deeper question: who's to say the value of shoe is actually that value of shoe? We just look at StockX and go. That's just right. Like that's.
It's a completely unregulated economy. So like the way, even like back then, I remember there was like a lot of market manipulation occurring where like, let's say I had $10 million in the bank, right? And Shatterback Women's are at $400. If I have the capital to buy up 60 or 70% of the market share, then really I can make the shoe worth $1,000 or $2,000 and create FOMO and then sell them all. And then that'll create a trickle effect and you can just move on to the next SKU. However, like nowadays, it's tough to do that with a lot of shoes. It kind of has to be a low production, but if you have the capital to do that, technically it's just an unregulated market. You can just treat it like a commodity at that point.
But that's the scary part is like there's no one saying that that's actually the price. It's the unregulated market that's just controlled by the buyer and the seller.
With these platforms, you know, they're tracking multiple sales. So sometimes like a stadium goods sale will pop up, or sometimes an eBay sale. But at what point will the consumer stop paying those prices?
And that's what I think is going to happen sooner than we think.
I think the data is so dicey on older SKUs because really there isn't any data because a lot of these pairs are not available on the market, and the people that do have them will list them for astronomical prices. Yeah. So how do you really gauge what the market value of I'll give you an example. Like if you look at like a Paris SB, right? A Paris SB, if you go on StockX, it's like what, 150 grand.
And there's been realistically, like 6, 7 sold.
Realistically, if you really do some like dig deep in, you're gonna find pairs in like maybe 65K on a good day, 70K on like on an average day, but that doesn't really justify what the market is. I think eventually it'll get better. You've seen it like a lot more with newer SKUs and like SKUs that have come out in the last 3 to 4 years. But I think with like the rare grails, it's just kind of more of a collector's market. It's like whatever Peter's willing to pay me that day, so I could give it to Paul, right? Yeah.
That's what sucks though.
I don't know.
It's like, I don't know. I don't see the longevity in it at some point.
Like I said, like I think there's real value in aggregating the data and like really making a play just beyond the sneaker stuff. Like, you know, building a brand. You guys are building a brand, your merch sells out, you guys have like an aesthetic behind your company. You're Common Hype because you made Common Hype what it is. But like if you look at like I don't know like really what to compare it to, but like I feel like with a lot of resale stores popping up nowadays, like there's no differentiation. Like if you compare
You're just a regular sneaker store.
Yeah, just you get like I'd like to see, you know, more like collaboration, more giving back to the community, you know, doing unique things that are completely outside the realm of what we sell, just to bring in a new category of people. Like
I agree, and that's what something we try to do. Like we did made a half breast cancer awareness month, and we donated a portion of those proceeds to the Breast Cancer Foundation in Arizona. So like that's because we want to be outside of sneakers. We don't want to just sell sneakers.
No,
that's just not it. But 90% of these stores that pop up in the last a year, maybe less, just want to sell sneakers and make money.
Of course, yeah. I mean, most people open a store to make revenue, but at the same time, like, you gotta build the brand. You have to like do everything you can.
I don't think sneakers are gonna make you rich. I think it gives you a path to do it and an avenue, but it's not gonna.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Huh? What made you open a store? Like, why did you want to open a store? What does off the bench mean?
So,
and where do you see yourself going?
For me, like, it's always been a goal of mine to own a store. I had opportunities in the past to do a store, but I felt like the avenue I was going in just felt like at the time, you know, I was doing like more bulk, like more in-store things, and things felt like pretty dialed in, and I felt like there was no like roof left. And then when, you know, COVID happened, obviously product became tougher to get, couldn't go outside to get shoes, so it gave me a lot of time to like rethink and restructure, like kind of reinvent yourself. I feel like as people, you know, there's only so much time in the day, but like when I was, you know, like in lockdown during COVID, it just gave me so much more time to think. Like, oh, what was I doing last year that was good? What was bad? How can I improve these things? What are, you know, that type of stuff. But with the store, It's just the timing and opportunity. I had a family friend who wanted to open a store with us, and he really liked the vision. He saw what I had been doing for a few years, and just wanted to send it. And you'll never know unless you do it, right?
Never know till you try.
Yeah.
I mean, we started ours and we took a chance. We didn't think we could be where we're at now.
What's one advice from each of you guys for any sneaker person like watching? Like, what advice would you give them to help them either get into this industry or stay in the industry to be successful?
Networking. It's literally all about who you know, not what you know.
I agree.
You would agree, right?
Yeah, I think the hard work and dedication too. Like, there's so many people,
I think
buying.
that comes with networking too. Like,
Yeah.
it's just you gotta be on the floor. You gotta be on the streets. You gotta be hustling. You gotta be in every group message. You gotta be in every Discord group. You gotta hustle. You get in as much as you get put in.
Yeah.
You get out as much as you put in.
I think, like, besides the networking, especially if you're doing like the street level stuff, like going to stores for first come first serve releases, it's like being humble and like kind of like earning your place there. Like what a lot of people don't realize is when you go to like a sneaker release or something and people have been camping, maybe that person's been doing it for 6 or 7 years. He knows everybody around him. But when like somebody new pops in, they try to be like the boss. I think like it's really good to observe like what's occurring around you and be observant, try to learn as much as you can. Networking is really crucial too, and then the dedication, just like don't give up, make smart decisions, build your bankroll, build the amount of capital you have so you can make better plays for long term. Yeah.
What's the shoe that made you a sneakerhead? And then we'll wrap up.
I've always liked like fashion and shoes, but I think the shoe that got me into retros is probably just like Jordan 1 silhouettes in general. I always thought they're sick growing up and dope. Yeah.
Easy 350 Oreos, my first pair.
That was your first pair?
Retail top. I kept them.
The pair that started the reselling for me was the 750 Grey Gum gloves. Yep, that was the one. That was the one. Jeez.
Most expensive pair of shoe you own right now?
Nike SB Canaries or
He does have those.
Interscope Jordan 3s.
You have what?
Interscope Jordan 3s.
Oh yeah,
I got them. Yeah, I kept them. Shout out to Phil. Phil, I love you, bro. Thank you for the gift. I had to keep those.
He had them in the case for a while.
What's
All
your-
my Off-White 4s.
Half-White 4s are hard.
Hard. They're dirty though. I'd be wearing them out too much.
Okay, your name and where you're from, and where they can find you.
My name is Dillon. I go by Dillon Dropz. You can find me at Off the Bench SD, or you can find me on Instagram at Dillon Dropz.
Dylan doesn't even know his Instagram.
And my address is 363 5th Avenue, downtown San Diego, and we're located in the Gaslamp District. You can come by and we'll take good care of you and create like a unique in-store shopping experience for you. You can check us out online.
Oh, you're online now?
Yeah, we are online.
There it is. Finally, we pushed Dylan to go online.
Yeah. What's next? Podcast, YouTube?
Podcast. We're going to bring Dylan on the podcast. Andrew from The Comment Hype. You can find me at The Trill Sanchez on Instagram or find me at The Comment Hype on YouTube.